Our next presenter is Jens Meier, who's the CEO of the Hamburg Port Authority. He's here to present a project which is about a concrete example of how to optimize the port of the traffic port. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Also,
There you go.
my micro is on. Can you hear me?
Right.
I'm not sure. Micro, yes, on. Yeah, thank you very much, Napora, for the invitation to Barcelona. It's the first time that we are talking about the port and city interface. I think for all of us it's very important. First of all, I will promise, I'm between you and the lunch break. Right now, the large queue over there. And I will try to make it in 10 minutes. But I think it's very important that the interface between ports and cities are well done, because traffic jams caused out of the ports because of cruise passengers or container traffic, it's important to avoid and keep the port in a flow, how we call that in Hamburg. It's very important to make as much money as possible out of the port and keep the city and the state wealthy. And this is what our project is try to telling you. It's a concrete project we have already implemented, and it's how to optimize traffic flows for passenger and goods. I hope it works. Does not work. It's not on. I don't know. Turned it off. Oh. Now. As you can see imagine on this picture, you see on the left side it's the main station. On the right side is a cruise vessel. The normal distance between the main station and the cruise vessel is approximately 15 kilometers, so it's far away, but the project tries to bring main station and traffic flows closer to the cruise terminals. We had fantastic partners in the project. It's the MIT from Boston and the Hafen City University, so the port and the city, we are always working together with universities and experts to figure out the best way to manage traffic flows. First of all, we try to implement an interactive model. You see on an interactive touch screen a model with, you can put your hands on, you can see the scenery, and the tool is very important that everybody is able to work with it and get in touch and to try to find out, what is the best way of a solution. The use case in this, what I would like to present in the short time is cruise business, but we can adopt that also to normal logistic business. Cruise business, or why cruise business? Cruise business is very simple. They normally focus on, check-in processes and land transportation and luggage handling. When you look at the total process, it's much more complicated, but we try to start with a concrete example, reduce complexity at that time, and try to transform that later. As you can see, the Hamburg main station is one of the biggest main stations European-wide, and the speciality is to handle many, many passengers in a very narrow space. That is also for us in the port very important. Our challenge is the port cannot be increased. We always need to keep an eye to use the infrastructure and the land in a more efficient way, and it's the same as at the main station. The daily parameters, facts and figures, are very important when you start a project. You can see on which side how many passengers per day are moving, and in total, what is going in and out. But I wanted to skip that soon. Hopefully it works. Yeah. You see at the end, the main station is normally a little bit overcrowded. The comfort for the passenger is not perfect. There are jams, there are delays, especially when there is coming a huge amount of cruise passengers at the same time. And then we started what we find out. First of all, very important, you need a process definition. And by surprise, you start with the impression, or the first result is there was no process designed at all. So the cruise industry, the main station, the rail operator, the city, they had no idea how the process looks like. So we started, to describe some things. What are the existing tools? Camera systems, transportations, modes of transportation, tourist department, and so on. And then we looked who are the shareholders, what are the challenges or problems, what are the first ideas, and then we brought that in a more IT-based model. And here, what you cannot see from the back is, in the center is the main station. Here are people coming from the airport. We figured out they are going from the airport via the main station. There are people who are coming from somewhere, arriving at the main station. There are parking areas, logistic areas, and also bus areas. And they all have a combination, at the end with the final destination, cruise terminal. And how did we get the data? We did 3 types of data collection. First thing is we bought cell phone data from a telecommunication provider in an anonymized way. That means, only if 4 persons are in a cell, we use that data, and we used 10 approaches of 3 cruise vessels in a port, and we tried to figure out, what kind of movements we saw. You can see here just peaks and lower situation, but that was the first point of data collection. The second one, it's also open to the public. We used Instagram photographies, and with picture recognition, you can see if someone takes a picture in the port or on the river, and some moments before he or she posted a picture from the city, you can imagine and combine with data analytics that these people must have visited the city before, the main station, before they went onto the cruise vessel and posted some pictures from the vessel. Open data, that was the second point. And the third thing was a very normal thing. We had questionnaires. We asked passengers how they got from point A to point B. And these 3 sources, we put it together in a so-called agent-based modeling methodology. At the end, we figured out we need a micro level and a macro level. The micro level is that we played a little around. What are the processes in the cruise terminal, the welcome center? What is going wrong? How long are the waiting times in front of the check-in desk? What about the luggage handling? Is there a traffic jam at the taxi point, or you name it? And the other point on the macro level was, what kind of causes of traffic jams we had from the main station you see located on the right of the picture, moving to one of our 3 cruise terminals. Delay time, traffic jams, in order to some facts. And I do it in a very rapid way. Then we put it in our model. And as you can see here are some movements on switches or regulators. We can play a little. What are the results when we change some parameters? For example, when we change, put just a simple thing. 2 people are receiving luggage at the welcome center at the cruise terminal now. What is the impact when we change that to 4 people receiving luggage handling, or increasing the number of security lines, or increasing the check-in counter in the time between 8 and 10 o'clock, or something like that? We can simulate and we see the results, and then we saw also what kind of results can we achieve when we change positioning of bus stations, for example. When you have it's a very small picture. When you see the model of the main station, that's the dark gray, and here the normal position where the buses depart to the cruise center, the passengers normally walk out here and have to walk here. What about when we move a bus station over here, or bus departure over there? And the model was able to show that this increases the throughput by, let me say, 20%. And also we were able to simulate when we order vans instead of taxi. That means combine single person traffic movement or transportation movement to a, let me say, 9-person bus. And this kind of model was very important for us when we created the new traffic system to our cruise terminals. how can we stimulate cruise passengers to use public transport, to use clever shuttle or Meier system. That means small buses, small coaches, which are directly allocated by the cruise lines to the passengers. And at the end, we were able to improve and increase the traffic flow and avoid traffic jams by, let me call it, roughly 30%. So simulation and a concrete example shows us this is part of our future, how we try to implement, not just in cruise business and luggage handling, how we increase the traffic flow also in our logistic business. You know, we were able to, you would say, manipulate, you know, with short incentives to keep the people a little longer at some places or increase number of staff at the cruise terminals with a perfect result. And this is very important. You need the interface between city and port because traffic jam is in the city, and this is, you know, causes always trouble, and they hate cruise passengers, they hate overcrowding and so on. But this was the starting project also for the whole port. In the port and in the city interface, we also have the challenge, you know, if you have a huge number of containers moving through the city, through the motorways to the port, and we are now able to scale up our tools and also share that with our partners in our network to make it usable also to other ports. During the next 3 years, we will increase that container transport, take away containers from the street to the road, always in time windows, in geofences and regions. And I think this is our way to the future, how we can improve, you know, the relationship and the partnership between ports and cities. And that's what I would like to share today with you, and hope this was short enough and you can enjoy now your lunch. Thank you very much.